Right. Well, welcome everyone to the 2021 virtual site visit. We're excited to have you here with us for our convention in Expo in 2021 in Denver, Colorado. A little housekeeping as we get started. Please go ahead and mute yourselves so there isn't any feedback during the presentation. If you have a question, you're welcome to enter it into the chat or just take a note and save it for the end when we'll do a question and answer session. Next slide, please. Sound might be having issues. This is just a sampling of what the Denver area has to offer, kind of some of the activities in the city and a little bit further outside of town. I hope you got a little sample of what it looks like in Denver and kind of some of the things around the outside of the city and downtown. We'd like to thank Home Depot for being our premium sponsor for the convention and expo this year. Next slide. We also want to thank all of you for joining us and being a part of our organization and working with our members. This graphic and variations of it will be used throughout the convention surrounding our Platinum partnerships. So if there is an adjustment in your logo or your branding, please let us know so that we can make that adjustment sooner rather than later. Next slide.
All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the U.S. today. I'm Rayshawn Crossan. I have the privilege of serving as the interim CEO EVP. On site at convention this year, I actually will be your point of contact if you can't get in contact with Christy on exhibitor stuff or with Lori on anything related to any of the events. Lauren has big news and maybe she'll share it with you guys as she introduces herself, but I will be Lauren's protege in her absence this year.
Whoa, okay, Rayshawn, I guess I have to share my news. So I'm Lauren McIntyre Gibson, the events manager, all things logistics. I will be doing logistics leading up to convention. As Rayshawn shared, she will be the on-site point of contact due to the fact that I'm inspecting, so I will not be attending convention this year. So you can reach me up until June when I'm due, and then I will be back available, well, digitally through convention, but she will be my on-site point of contact. Thank you, Lindsay.
Everyone, I think most of you are probably familiar with me by now, and after yesterday's Platinum Partner Council meeting, maybe a little sick of me already, but we'll get there. My name is Christy Ronaldson. I'm the Director of Business Development and Industry Partnerships. I'll be running point on the show floor. Some of you may worked with Rich Ryan, who used to be our Expo Hall manager. I'll be taking over that role. So if you have any questions regarding your booth or the show floor, or those type of logistics, I'll be working with our team to get you the answers that you need and working with the convention center to facilitate that. So we're really excited to have you join us. If you do have any questions, I will be sending out my personal cell phone to this group. So if you do need to reach me on site, you'll be able to.
And I'm Lori Ensignat. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications at IEC, and I will be handling all things marketing related, pre-convention, during convention, and post-convention. So you can reach out to me for any questions that you have on any of those topics. Oop. Wrong way. And I wanted to share with you quickly the microsite. Hello, doggy. I wanted to share with you quickly the microsite that we've developed for the Convention and Expo 2021. This is a great resource for sourcing restaurants that you'd like to attend, to finding fun things to do in the Denver area while you're there, getting around. There's a section toward the bottom about transportation. And this includes all of the COVID protocols in the Denver area at the airport, on trains, if you take a train. And it also includes some maps that'll be helpful as you move around the city. But we encourage you to check out this site, maybe plan ahead, make some reservations if you'd like to meet with a group for dinner. But it's a great resource that you should definitely take a look at before we get to Denver.
So the next piece is the COVID-19 status updates. I have been living and breathing how to get prepared for our in-person meetings since last year. And so I'm excited to see the progress that Denver has been making. Indoor seating for events can operate at 100% of the posted occupancy up to 500 people with proper social distancing protocols in place. This is exciting to hear because just a month ago, they weren't there. They have done mass distribution of vaccinations to a lot of their at-risk populations, and they're on a positive trajectory to getting as many people vaccinated as possible. That will allow us to have as much access and capacity to do our events. Seated or unseated outdoor events are not subjected to capacity regulations. This really doesn't pertain to us. We are planning to do a semi-outdoor event for our welcome reception, but we're still trying to secure a location for that piece. Masks are required for outdoor events if 6 feet social distancing is not possible. But we'll keep you guys updated with that piece. So our host hotel this year will be the Hyatt Regency. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Hyatt Regency itself and the Colorado Convention Center and their COVID-19 safety protocols. Face coverings will be required and enforced at both locations. We are trying to determine whether or not if we're going to have IEC personnel do the enforcement or if we are going to leverage external third party to help us with enforcement to ensure that our attendees are maintaining having adequate face coverings on. Face coverings will be made available for guests who arrive without their own mask. In addition to the Hyatt and the Convention Center providing masks, we will be providing each of our attendees with a PPE kit that will have branded IEC masks so they can leverage if they don't have adequate PPE available during the time period that they're there. They will enforce 6-foot social distancing. As you guys know, our members are very touchy-feely, and so for a lot of our special events, we're going to have to figure out how this 6-foot social distancing piece will be enforced, but we're going to do the best that we can to make sure that everyone stays safe. Participants screening for symptoms and contact documentation will be performed on a daily basis. So we will have health screenings done entering into both the convention center and the hotel on a daily basis. So just want to kind of give you a heads up. That's just a requirement that's currently in place that we're going to definitely execute upon for our annual meeting. So a method is easily identified for screen participants. We are going to leverage wristbands this year. So after they're screened at the front door entry, when they come into a location, we will provide them with a color-coded band. Each day there will be a different color band. That's just going to denote to all of you guys as well as us that those individuals have been screened for the day. Participants should not attend the event if they have identified if they are at-risk population or heightened risk of being exposed to COVID-19. So there will be a lot of pre-convention communication that will go out to our members to talk about that and what to do. The venue does require us to notify all guests in advance in advance of the event that distancing guidelines will be governed and enforced throughout the event. So it will be no surprise to our attendees what our requirements will be and what stipulations they will be held to. And if you click on learn more in this slide, it'll take you to all of the pertinent details, and we have taken the liberty to highlight specific areas. Because of the size of our event, we're actually classified as a part of the Denver XL venue pilot. So this allows us to up to 2,000 participants to attend our event. We were estimating anywhere between 2,000 to 2,500. So I do think that this will increase as time goes on. Because before we weren't there, we were actually at 500. And so I think with the progressive approach to deploying vaccinations and folks taking the proper protocols in Denver, it's going to allow us to do mass capacity and meet our targets on how many attendees will attend. So this is simply a FAQ that kind of has some of the details that we thought was pertinent information that you guys should know. So do exhibit halls need to separate with air walls? No. And we've actually been thinking about expanding our exhibit space to make sure that we have adequate space to do social distancing. We'll talk about it a little bit later on, where we've had to expand the aisles to accommodate social distancing, and for some of the fun things that we're doing, like our sound stage and some of our interactive events, we have to ensure certain distance between our presenters and entertainers. And so you'll see that a little bit later on in the presentation as we talk about the expo floor. One of the other key things that that's outlined in here is, do the exhibit booths need to be 6 foot apart in space, less than 2,800 square feet? Yes, however, exhibits can be back to back. And so there was a lot of questions up until this point on whether or not we needed to have drapes that kind of separates the booths. And we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but no, we do not need to have draping or any kind of plastic covering to separate booths. So I won't go through all of this into detail, but this resource will be available to all of your designees who will be managing the implementation of your booths. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we'll definitely get back to you guys with the appropriate answer. Next slide.
Welcome to the Mile High City, where 300 days of sunshine offer guests an opportunity to experience the city, as well as the outdoor adventure Colorado has to offer. Whether you're a foodie, love your beer, or want to visit our many cultural attractions, Denver has something for everyone. When you're ready to join us, our wonderful city and hotel are waiting to welcome you. The Hyatt Regency is located in the heart of downtown Denver. There's so much to discover within our city, whether it's shopping at a local boutique, tasting world-class dining, or enjoying one of the many attractions around the city, including the Denver Zoo, Art Museum, and more.
Welcome to the Hyatt Regency Denver at Colorado Convention Center. My name is Ben Premack, and I am the Area Director of Sales and Marketing for our Hyatt Hotels in Denver. Our purpose at Hyatt is to care for people so they can be their best. With our continued focus on care during these challenging times, we want to ensure each and every one of our guests and colleagues feel safe while at our hotel. The team at the Hyatt Regency Denver is trained, prepared, and dedicated to ensuring a great experience. And we have one of the best destinations and hotels in the world that is ready for you. Put your trust in Hyatt.
Upon arrival at our hotel, we provide guests with comfort, convenience, and a focus on cleanliness that truly reimagines the hotel experience. With our World of Hyatt app, guests experience touchless check-in and cell phones can be used as room keys. Social distance signage, required face masks, elevator spacing, and revised capacity guidelines throughout the hotel will only further ensure guest security. Accommodating both work and relaxation, there are many features found at the Hyatt Regency to help guests unwind. We invite you to rest easy in one of 1,100 contemporary hotel rooms, including 59 suites, all offering impressive views of downtown Denver. Our trained hygiene and well-being teams are constantly ensuring the property is adhering to new protocols, such as removing high-touch items from rooms and placing sanitizer stations prominently throughout hotels. Our dining venues envelop guests in the iconic F&B scene. Guests can grab a local beer at Former Saint, a coffee at Assembly Hall Market, its counter fitted with plexiglass coverings, or sit back and enjoy spaced out seating and spacious views from our 27th floor Peaks Lounge.
Hello, I'm Rosanna Winarto, the Director of Events at Hyatt Regency Denver at Colorado Convention Center. Through our commitment of cleanliness and adhering to our purpose of care, Hyatt Regency Denver is ready to welcome meetings and events into our hotel. With detailed plans that ensure seamless process from menu selection to service and sanitation standards, our events team look forward to welcome groups of all sizes into our event space.
Make an impression with more than 60,600 square feet of functional conference and meeting space, including some of Denver's largest ballrooms, VIP boardrooms, and intimate breakout rooms, all adhering to new social distancing standards. Convenience for corporate groups will always remain at the forefront of this property. Thank you for considering the Hyatt Regency at the Colorado Convention Center for your upcoming programs. We encourage you to book with confidence, knowing that our new guidance and procedures are implemented from arrival to departure to ensure a safe stay with incredible standard of service to match.
All right, thank you for showing that video, Lori. It was very in-depth. So before taking a 360 tour of our host hotel, I just wanted to give some type of announcement regarding this host hotel. So in previous years, there's been issues with partners thinking that we have a third-party vendor for our housing. So I just want to make note that we don't. So we work directly with the hotel. So if you have any solicitation of a third-party vendor trying to get your room block or book rooms for you, please ignore those emails and forward them to me so that I can keep track, me or Rayshawn, so we can keep track. Again, when booking through our room block, we have it directly through our site and not through a third-party hotel. So I just wanted to make note that just popped in my head because we've had issues in the past where partners have booked through and unfortunately have lost money through the third-party vendors. So again, we do not use any third-party vendor. We have a direct contract with the hotel and the link is available on our site. All right. So I'm just going to go over the main entrance as well as the lobby. So here is the main entrance. And some things that will be available that Christy will cover later on are sponsorship opportunities. So the sponsorship opportunities for the main entrance will actually be wrapping of pillars, wrapping of the doors on the outside, floor decals. And another opportunity that is new this year is that a branded drink will be available at the bar. So for those who've attended our event in the past, know that our attendees love to have a good time. They're always at the bar. So that we brought the opportunity to actually have a sponsored drink throughout our convention at the bar within the hotel. And then we were going to look at the lobby lounge. This is a great place to catch our attendees leaving the convention center, coming back, or before they head out to appointment or dinner. It's a great opportunity to connect with them. And again, sponsorships, opportunities are available. Christy will discuss a little later on in the presentation, and then the document with all the opportunities and details will be provided after this presentation. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the presentation itself. Lori, can you pull that up? I'm not able to access it on this end. All right, so we're going to go into the convention center. The convention center, how it's set up is that the street level is where the meeting rooms are, and you would take an escalator up to the exhibit hall. And the hall that we're in this year at the convention center is Hall B. So Hall B is starred here. Again, the exhibit hall level is above the street level where the meeting rooms are. As well as the Four Seasons Ballroom. The Four Seasons Ballroom will host our opening and closing keynotes, as well as our Amped Up Luncheon and our Platinum Partner Party. The gala, which I will discuss later on, will actually be hosted that Saturday evening at the Host Hotel in the Capitol Ballroom. This star implicates the area outside of the ballroom where registration will be set up outside of the hall. Rather, a registration will be set up as well as here. And then we have the meeting rooms. This is where all our education session breakouts, as well as our small committee meetings will take place. And then our larger committee meetings, such as the board of directors, will take place in the Four Seasons Ballroom. Okay, and now I'm going to take a tour of the Colorado Convention Center. I will go over the meetings space corridor as well as the expo hall itself. Give me one moment to showcase this. So we're going to start with the expo hall. And it automatically pans. So this is part of the loading area. More of the loading area and where the restrooms are located. As you see, the dock is to the left. Here's the hall itself, where it will consist of exhibitor booths, your booths as partners, as well as the sound stage that Rayshawn had mentioned, where we will have over those 2 days, local bands performing. And again, this is just the hall. It doesn't seem that we have issues with low ceilings like we were possibly going to have previously in New Orleans. Okay, and then as I scroll up, I'm going to go to the Four Seasons Ballroom, which is where the Platinum Party as well as the keynotes will take place. And it's just a pan of the room. Okay. This is the concourse that is near the expo hall. Again, we're in Hall B. So just to familiarize with this. And again, the meeting rooms will be on the street level as when you enter, say, directly coming from the hotel, and then you'll need to go a floor up for the expo hall per what information was provided to me from the convention center representative that I work with. And then we'll go up. Lastly, I will show you the meeting room corridor we're in meeting rooms 100, 101 through 110. That's where our breakout sessions will take place, as well as the committee meeting. And these links will be provided to you as well. So if you want to share with your team, get familiar with the venue, you can do that at a later time. And you see that the rooms are close in proximity. So it's just a quick walk to hop from room to room, and we will have social distancing in place. Our seating styles will be slightly different. From the year before, we'll have hand sanitizers in place. The rooms will be cleaned thoroughly between sessions. So we are following those guidelines to make sure that attendees not only have a great content as far as education, but also are safe. Okay. All right, so some additional information regarding the Colorado Convention Center. As previously mentioned, the floor plan will be changing as far as for two-way traffic to have 20-foot aisles instead of 10. Christy will be reaching out to those who may be affected, and she'll talk later in the presentation about that. The booths must be set up back to back and side to side. 6-foot social distancing must be maintained between people and booths at all times. So that is pertaining to you as the exhibitor and the attendee. Self-served, everything must be prepackaged, meaning if you have any giveaways that you want to hand out, such as pens, notebooks, and so forth, those need to be individually wrapped. Those are the only thing that the convention center is accepting at times, not throwing a basket of pens on a table that are just not individually wrapped. Everything has to be individually wrapped. Otherwise, it is not allowed. If you decide to move forward with bringing it anyways, convention staff or security will be removing those products. So just giving you a heads up that they're very strict about any type of giveaway being individually wrapped.
Can you reiterate that, Lauren? I'm sorry, I missed that.
So to go back 1 second. So say for instance, Joel, if you have Milwaukee tape measures that you want to hand out, travel size tape measures, those tape measures have to be individually wrapped. They just can't be laid out on a table or put in a basket. They would have to be individually wrapped and placed in a basket or a display of some sort. Does that make sense?
When you say wrap,
like wrapped meaning like
a poly bag around them.
So
Yeah.
let's take the tape measure for an example. Sometimes tape measures come in little boxes. So
Yep.
with them being in the little box, is that adequate for the convention center, or do they actually have to be wrapped?
They would, it would need to be boxed. That would be adequate, but it couldn't be outside of the box. Does that make sense?
Got it. That's interesting.
I have a concern about like a screwdriver or something like that. Screwdrivers don't come prepackaged per se. And so that will require, I guess, essentially an added cost for someone to prepackage those. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So like t-shirts in the booth are something that's not happening.
I would need to confirm. You might be able to have t-shirts in the booth if you're actually handing it out. I don't think it's something that they want just to be laid on a table.
Okay, got it.
But I can confirm that.
If you can clarify that, Lauren, because like I said, tool packaging or whatever, but you know, Joel, probably like the pens, the markers, stuff like that. They'll probably have to be individually sleeved. But t-shirts, yeah, we need to know that too. So if they have to be in a plastic package, or if we're handing them out, think the concern maybe them just letting out and open if we're taking them out in a box. So you can clarify that, Lauren, because if we hand it out individually, maybe we can get around that situation.
Yeah, I can. I'll clarify and get back to you guys shortly. I'll ask that question today following this presentation.
And I think, Lauren, it's controlled versus uncontrolled. And I think if it's controlled and actually distributed by someone in a controlled environment versus just kind of picked through, I
Yeah.
think that would decipher. Because I know the hotel I just stayed at, they couldn't leave giveaways out, but they could actually pass them out directly to the person. And so I think it's the controlled versus uncontrolled. So we can definitely follow up on that piece.
Yes.
In addition to that aspect, I was wondering, so usually at shows, there's like one sample of the giveaway that's out and then having the rest probably bagged. Would that one display item then need to be wrapped as well? Or could that be out for no one to take, but on viewing?
So I would need to confirm that with the convention center. I don't see that be a problem. The problem is just having high touch items. So if you were to put that item out, it would just have to be cleaned. They want to eliminate high touch items. Does that make sense, Christy?
It does, absolutely. So guys, if you're thinking about t-shirts, maybe you have a mannequin with a shirt on to display it, and then you hand them their shirt, or that might be the way to work around it too. But we'll get back to you on that.
Yep. All right, moving on to the next slide. So some additional information regarding the Colorado Convention Center. Exhibitors may provide handouts and products at their booths, but again, as I just mentioned, all items must be individually packed. I will follow up with my representative at the Convention Center to see if just having someone who's manning the booth hand out the items, if that would suffice, such as t-shirts, hats, and so forth, if that would suffice instead of having those individually wrapped. Although highly
I'm sorry, do you know what they're going to do with literature?
So you can provide those handouts, but they need to be in some type of sleeve or a digital, some type of maybe a QR code so they can retrieve that digital file.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So maybe, David, if you had like say a QR code printed out that was laminated of some sort, you could probably lay that out, and then attendee would be able to scan it to get that document. But I will confirm it, and that will be something else that I will ask about. Food and beverage, although highly discouraged, food and beverages, they can still be distributed. But again, all items need to be individually packed, meaning bag of chips opposed to an open bowl full of chips. All right. Go ahead, Christy. Now it's your turn.
Well, I'm so glad you all are able to join us today. I'm here to talk to you about the exhibit and hall and the exhibit show part of the convention as this process moves forward. So, at our show, we're expecting roughly 2,000 to 2,500 attendees. We're working with the Denver Convention Center and with the City of Denver to make sure that everybody's safe and respecting that the numbers that we're allowed to have at events and at the show. Roughly 80% of our expected attendees are either the business owner or the president of the company. So you may want to think about tailoring your marketing to that specific segment. We're also expecting a fairly high proportion of local Denver contractors and local Colorado contractors. We're working specifically with our chapters in the area. We have 3 in order to encourage attendees and really get more of our local contractors on the show floor. So make sure your teams know to kind of expect that and what they should be looking for as they tailor their booth and figure out what product they're bringing. Next slide, please. So exhibitor setup and teardown. You and your on-site teams can receive your credentials starting on Monday, October 4th, in order to have your badges and everything ready to get onto the show floor on October 5th, which is when exhibitor setup starts. You have October 5th and October 6th until 5 p.m. in order to get your booth completely set up. They do need to be completely finished by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, October 6th. And then breakdown is on the 8th. Next slide, please. That moves us into the exhibit hall schedule. So what we're doing this year is a little bit different than we have in the past. After the opening session, we'll be bringing attendees down to the expo hall. There will be a formal ribbon cutting ceremony, which is available to be sponsored this year, along with speaking points, and more to follow later, followed by a lunch on the expo hall floor. So we'll have a huge influx of individuals coming down to the expo hall and your booths. We'll also have on the following day, that is Thursday, October 7th, and then on the following day, October 8th, we're gonna have a grab and go breakfast. And there will be a seating area for eating for attendees and exhibitors to be able to enjoy their meals and eat that is appropriately socially distanced, and that will be set up on the show floor too. Next slide. Okay, if you can open the exhibitor prospectus. I know a lot of the information that you all are dying to find out is what do our attendees look like, who they are. Page 2 is really what kind of gives you a breakdown of who we're expecting to be at the show, company size, sales volume, number of field employees, type of work they do. We're also hoping that many of you will be willing to bring low voltage, limited energy product to have on hand at the booth. We're working to launch a limited energy module for our contractors later this year. And we'd love to be able to have your type of product and your equipment on hand for them to be able to see and review and touch and feel it, because that's what contractors do, right? To really get that firsthand experience at the show. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the expo hall. So as some of my colleagues mentioned earlier, the current floor plan as it stands has 10-foot aisle walkways. The convention center, the CDC, and the city of Denver are actually requiring that we have 20-foot aisles. So in order to accommodate that, we'll be experiencing some shifting or adjusting of the floor plan. We're currently working to review and update that floor plan. So it should be ready in the next 7 to 10 business days for your review. If your booth is going to be affected, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to reach out to you directly and kind of talk you through and figure out what your best option is given this new requirement. Given where your booths are currently located, I don't expect many exhibitors to be impacted by this shift. And we're looking to minimize the effect on your booth space as much as we possibly can. And then the next file, which is new, this is a brand new preview. No one has seen this document before outside of our IEC staff. This is our sponsorship opportunities document. Now, for those of you who have strategic agreements and multi-year agreements, we have built in sponsorship into those contracts. However, as part of a standard platinum partnership, if it isn't already allocated through those agreements, platinum partners receive a $10,000 sponsorship credit. So you'll be able to use those funds to spend on different branding opportunities and marketing opportunities throughout the show. We have it broken down to kind of subject areas. So we have Apprentice of the Year. You can see some of those sponsorships are already reserved through our strategic agreements. And then we have the opportunities at the Convention Center and Expo Hall. And I'm just gonna let, Lori's just gonna keep scrolling through, but I'm gonna give you some of the kind of new highlights that we're looking at for this year. So obviously last year and any other year, we didn't really require attendee face masks. So that is a branded opportunity that we're looking for this year. We would distribute those masks at registration when members check in. Another option includes an oxygen bar. Denver is known as the Mile High City. And we want to make sure that no one's feeling any altitude sickness. So they'll have the opportunity to have a branded oxygen bar and take a break and take a deep breath. And usually they have flavors and it's kind of a fun sponsorship. If you haven't tried it, you absolutely need to make time to do that. And then as I mentioned earlier, the ribbon cutting ceremony, which is a speaking opportunity when we open the expo hall. So we have a variety of different options that are available this year. This is an 11-page document, and there isn't time to go through every individual item here, but have you and your teams look it over. And if there are any items of interest, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help kind of talk you through the logistics or help you secure those sponsorships. Can we go back to the slide, please? So whether or not you have any added cost to your sponsorship, so say hypothetically, you have that $10,000 sponsorship credit, but you want a sponsorship that's $15,000. So you would just apply that credit and then use this form to secure the additional $5,000. The other piece is, even if it's fully paid for, I need you to submit this form so I can officially reserve that sponsored item for you and your company. So please make sure to use this document. If there's no cost, you just leave the billing section blank and submit to me, and then we can go ahead and reserve it for you, and then we'll mark it as sold and make sure that the signage is updated and correct. And then most of you have already reserved your booth. We've reserved it for you based on the show floor plan that we showed you last year. However, if you did want to upgrade to a larger space, or if you wanted to expand your booth, this is the form that you'd need in order to secure the booth space. On page 2, even though we've comped your space and we've allocated your booth to the show floor already, we do need this detail on this page, including the company description of 50 words or less. We use that in a lot of our marketing. We want to make sure that we're getting your message out there in the best possible way. And so we need that language from you and those specific booth contacts as well. I know many times our primary contacts are not the person that's managing the logistics or the person that's managing the booth itself. So that's part of the reason that we need this documentation. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I do have some of your forms, some are still missing. So just let me know and I'd be happy to assist. All right, and then we can move on to the next slide, please. For those of you who are new to IEC, I want to kind of give you an overview. So on our show floor, we host a national competition that highlights the work of the strongest apprentices from all around the country. Each one of our 52 chapters can submit an apprentice to compete for this national recognition in this national level competition. The competition area itself is substantial. It's about a 20 by 130 square foot space. It's segmented into 10 by 10 sections where the apprentice will actually do many of these activities that you can see in these pictures, with the exception of conduit bending that's in a separate place nearby. But the Apprentice of the Year competition, it's always very active. It's a big driver of foot traffic because our members like to watch and cheer on their colleagues. So that's our Apprentice of the Year competition. And I am happy to hand it back to Lauren.
All right, thanks, Christy. So we will be kicking off convention with a welcome reception featuring the emerging leaders. It will be taking place, we're looking at a local venue, walking distance, preferably a beer garden, since unfortunately they're not having a beer fest anymore, we're trying to have our own that night. So that will take place October 6th. From 5:30 to 6:30, we will be welcoming all attendees. I'll have a enjoyable evening of networking along with food and drinks. They will also have opportunity to mix and mingle. During this particular reception, we highlight our emerging leaders, and we will be actually highlighting and mentioning our 2021 Emerging Leader Program, which is new this year. So we're looking forward to this event and kicking off convention right. Next slide, please. Another thing that we are doing this year, opposed to previous years, we traditionally have an opening keynote with a well-known speaker, but this year we switched it up by having a closing keynote with Hall of Famer and Super Bowl Terrell Davis. So we're looking forward to his presentation, his speech on pivoting from a football career to a successful entrepreneur. So Lori, can you show our team exactly what we're going to be seeing? A brief highlight.
Yes, I'm trying to. I lost my mouse somewhere along the line here. Bear with me, folks.
While Lori's looking for her mouse, Terrell Davis will not only just be doing the closing keynote, but he will be staying a little bit later after his keynote session to interact with our members, provide some paraphernalia that will be auctioned off by the foundation and our political action committee. And then he will be providing greetings for the Platinum Partner Party. So I'm really excited about the continuation of his full day and spending time with our members. Lori's found her mouse. So, and Lauren will talk a little bit about what he'll be doing at the Platinum Partner Party next, but I'll let Lori
show the video.
All right. So thank you for showing that, Lori. And as Rayshawn mentioned, Terrell will be doing welcome remarks at the Platinum Partner Party. So again, we're excited to have him speak at the closing keynote and then having the opportunity for him to mingle with the Platinum Partners as well as the attendees when kicking off the Platinum Partner Party. So the Platinum Partner Party will take place at the Convention Center in the Four Seasons Ballroom. The theme this year is Adventure Awaits. Is going to be full-blown Colorado, all things Colorado that people will enjoy. Everything from local, for the beverages will be local beers, local IPAs, and then looking at such games as rock climbing, virtual skiing, virtual whitewater rafting, those sort of things. So that's going to be fun. For attendee engagement, prior to the Platinum Partner Party, during the expo hours, we will be providing scavenger hunts. So attendees will be coming up to your booths and they will be, whatever is listed, they will be asking that from you, and then you will just be marking it off. More details on exactly how it's going to flow will be provided lately, as well as the direct. So in order for them to get the tickets to participate in the raffle, they will need to complete the scavenger hunt. So we think that will be quite fun and engaging. All right, and we will be closing.
Sorry, just to add on a little bit at that. Can we go back to the last slide? For those of you partners that have experienced the Platinum Partner Party in the past, and that's a lot of P's, so I'm sure to trip over it too. We wanted to let you know, so there's usually a staged event. There's drawings for prizes that you and your team provide. So in previous years, there's things like a Ring doorbell, or other people had like a dartboard that's branded for their company, a college game day helmet, a wide selection of like unique kind of branded items that attendees can submit into the raffle, and then you get welcomed on stage, and the attendee who wins comes up. So start thinking about kind of what type of prize you'd like to have for this experience, because I'm sure there's a lot of creativity there that you all can tap into. Beer pun intended. So I'll hand it back to Lauren.
Thanks, Christy, for adding that. So closing out Convention and Expo, we have our President's Reception and Awards Gala. Again, that will be taking place at the host hotel, the Hyatt Regency Convention Center in the Capitol Ballroom. We have a reception that takes place right before the actual ceremony, which will be in the foyer, and then we will have a red carpet where attendees will enjoy being dressed up and taking pictures, and you guys are more than welcome to take pictures as well. And then we will roll into our actual ceremony. During this ceremony, we highlight the greatest in the industry. as well as the future of the industry with our Apprentice of the Year competitors announcing the winners of that competition. So it's a really good time and a great way to highlight all the great things that the industry has done the past year, as well as the event itself, and again, to highlight the future generation.
All right. Now I know that was a lot of information that you're now probably still processing. But so we want your feedback. We want you to be able to share with us kind of what are your goals for interacting with our attendees? You know, how can we support your Expo Hall experience? If you have specific ideas surrounding the Platinum Partner Party, and then also how many booth personnel badges. Typically it's based on, for the booth personnel, it's typically based on the number, the square footage of your booth. And so please share any feedback with us. After we finish this piece, we'll move into a Q&A. So if you have something outside of what we can do to help you, or if you have questions, we're happy to address those as well. Do we have any in the chat?
So 2 quick notes, Christy, just so folks can, start putting their questions in. For the President's Awards reception and gala, I highly encourage our partners to attend. There are a couple of categories where our partners are historically nominated for those awards, and it will be great to see you guys there because you just may win this year. So I really want to extend that invitation for you guys to join us. And then part of your partnership agreement, you guys actually have tickets to join us. So this is not an a la carte option that you have to pay for in addition to. It's a part of your registration form, so it doesn't cost anything extra. So I would just extend that invitation for you guys to join us. And then secondly, with Terrell Owens doing the closing keynote, he will be reiterating to our members how important it is to get their scavenger hunts complete in an effort so they can gain access to the Platinum Partner Party. So hopefully he'll kind of help drive folks to the Expo Hall as well. And we will be doing a non-traditional opening session this year. That'll be more about giving our attendees an overview of how to best navigate our expo floor, what education sessions to look out for. We will talk about the scavenger hunt in detail. We will have a mini speaker who will be, 20 minutes long just to get folks geared up. But we really want to give folks some great tips on how to best utilize their time at convention this year. And we will do that during our opening session. So those are my quick updates. So I'll pass it back to Christy for.
Hey, Rashawn, I just wanted to chime in on what you said, what is included in the registration. We didn't speak of it earlier, but as Rashawn mentioned, all that is included in your registration are the special events minus the foundation golf tournament, as well as the wine and whiskey tasting that they have annually. And then another additional cost will be the PEP event. So all of these special events, such as the open and closing keynote, the Platinum Partner Party, and the gala is included in your registration. But just as a reminder, the other 3 that I just mentioned are a la carte.
And specifically because those are fundraising activities. So they're optional. You're not required to attend, but we encourage you guys to attend and take part in those fundraising offerings.
All right.
Maybe unmute if you have questions. Feel free to unmute yourself. And of course, if there aren't any questions during this session, we're absolutely happy to have you reach out and just ask us directly. I feel like most of you probably know our team, and if there isn't an answer that we don't have on hand, we can always find it out for you. We're happy to assist in that capacity.
We think registration is gonna really happen towards the end of summer. Are we doing anything to try to understand how many people are going to attend early? for the vendors, it's a lot to plan for. So making sure that we understand what actually might be there would be great. If we can try to drive people to sign up earlier, the better, but I certainly understand the challenges there.
So this is Rayshawn. So historically, we would provide numbers closer to the event, but I think we're going to probably do a monthly registration check-in for our platinum partners. So every 30 days and then more frequently leading up to it, so you guys can see the registration progression so that you can plan accordingly. We are going to do a couple of different pushes for our early bird special. That includes some incentives for folks to register sooner rather than later. But we are planning to launch registration, I believe, May 15th. So the first, I guess, milestone would be June 15th for you guys to get that first sense of who's interested, who's not. And I think we'll probably provide Christy with some kind of analytical data from our impressions on our registration site, so that she can then share that information with you guys to kind of see what kind of traffic is coming, who's, and what kind of inquiries we're getting on the back end, whether if it's safety related or just even trying to confirm if partners, are going to be there. Because a lot of interest now from my members are what contractors are showing, who's going to be exhibiting this year. And right now we don't have a full comprehensive list, but it's almost like they're waiting for you guys to confirm so they can confirm, and you guys are waiting for them to confirm for you to, so it's like a give and take.
Yeah, I think that check-in would be extremely helpful.
Yep.
Well, keeping an eye on the clock, please feel free to reach out to us again if you do have any questions or if you realize something after the fact. We're happy to address it. But I think we're ready to move to the next slide. So we want to thank you all for being here today and joining our virtual site visit. This is my email, so please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. We're going to have this presentation recorded. So once it finishes rendering, we'll send out that link along with this PowerPoint separately, so you can access the documents that we've discussed and shown you on your own and share with your teams. We're looking forward to seeing you in Denver, and I can't wait till October.
Thank you very much for sharing.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.